And someone who is doing that right now in Japan is Levi. So Levi, great to see you. Levi is a good friend of mine. For a long time before we met, people would say, "Oh, do you know Levi? Have you met Levi?" And I can't remember actually the first time meeting, but Levi has been a good friend, and we've worked together in Japan. And now he's in Tokyo doing sports ministry and youth ministry. But just so we can get to know you a little bit, can we ask you some quick questions? I want to start actually with the question we asked at the beginning. What's something that you love about Japan?
Yeah, so the thing I put in the chat was onsen, which is something I very much do love about Japan. It's one of the challenges actually of doing ministry in Tokyo is there are not as many quality of affordable onsens around as there are up in Hokkaido, but we all have our burdens to bear. So
yeah, great. Do you have any stories to share about onsen trips?
A couple, I guess. I know the one you're thinking of. Don't
worry if you don't want
to. So I give the. I mean, okay. The conclusion of the story is that I passed out and woke up lying on the floor with my friend looking down on me very concernedly, and that's when I learned to know your limits. So
that's good. Yeah, know your limits. Thank you for that. Okay, some quick questions. What's your favorite anime?
Yeah, I don't actually watch a whole lot of anime. Although there's one which is just started. Kokushifudo is about a guy who's a yakuza, and then he quits being a yakuza to become a housewife or like a house husband. And it's very funny.
That sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got a favorite flavor of crisps?
Like in Japan, I guess I should say like consomme or like nori or something. But I really just like what's the word? Like what is the flavor? The Pringle ones, the sour cream and onion ones.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. What's the weirdest flavor of ice cream that you've ever tasted?
So there's a place in Enoshima, which is like down south of like Yokohama, that has like all of these crazy flavors you can get. And so I've had wasabi flavored. That's okay. I had shirasu flavored. So shirasu is like the the little fish, right? Like the really tiny little white fish. And they made like a ice cream that apparently tasted of them. I would not recommend it. Like not even for the novelty. Don't.
Noted. Okay. I know in Japan, gift giving is a big thing. Can you remember the last gift that you gave someone?
So actually, I went to Kyoto like a couple of months ago, and obviously, I had to buy all the gifts to give to people. So I had some I was going to be giving to my kind of church small group, but because when I came back, we then entered into a state of emergency before I was able to meet them. So I had these like this omiyagi, like these snack things that were getting towards their best before date, and we were still, all of our meetings were online and we weren't able to meet up. So I took them. I'm getting physio for my ankle. I did an injury a few weeks ago, and so I took my Kyoto omiyage and gave it to the people at the physio I go to, and they were all very happy to receive unexpected.
That was before they went out of date, right?
Yeah, it was like the day before they went out of date. So I was like, I explained to them like, I've given you these. You have to eat them like today or tomorrow. And so,
right.
Yeah.
Talking about eating, let's imagine, I'm sure this wouldn't happen to you, but if you were on death row and you were asked, what did you want to eat for your last meal? What would you choose as your last meal on earth?
That's tough. But I think like assuming I'm sentenced to death whilst I'm still in Japan, right? I would then be like, would want to have like a good kind of like steak nail pie with like chunky chips and gravy, because you just can't get that. So that would probably be my final meal.
Interesting. Okay. Getting a little deeper, if you could speak to your 18-year-old self, what would you say?
A little deeper. What would I would say, how would I say this? Don't underestimate the cumulative effects of regular study or discipline. The way that, so when you're 18 and you think like, you know, I want to do this and this and this, but it seems impossible. But if you do the same thing every day for 10 years, then, you know, eventually you reach kind of somewhere that you probably wouldn't be thinking of. So yeah, give yourself the kind of regular daily disciplines.
That's deep. Okay. Well, we're looking forward to hearing more of your words of wisdom and sharing about what you're up to in Japan. So over to you.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to try to share my screen. Someone like shout at me if this doesn't work. Because okay, I start that. Okay. Okay, can everyone see this?
Yeah, I can see you lying on some balloon boat thing.
Yeah. This is me hard at work. So this is who I am and what I do. I play ultimate Frisbee in Japan. And for those of you who have never experienced ultimate Frisbee, here's a little highlight reel I put together. So this is me playing for my club team called Wasabi. We're a mixed team. We went to some tournaments back when, and then I've played recently for the Japan national team. This was in the Philippines. So that's Frisbee. Where I do that, or where I am, is in Tokyo. So just a quick reminder for those of you who are unsure of your geography, that's Tokyo. Here is my apartment in the midst of kind of busy Tokyo stuff. And if you know about the Sky Tree, which is the other one besides the Tokyo Tower, the Sky Tree is kind of right nearby my house. I can't quite see it from my window because there's a highway in the way, but this is nearby. I'm also nearby Asakusa, which is where you have the famous lightning gates. So you may have seen them. They're kind of a classic tourist photo spot, or at least they were before COVID and stuff. So like a lot of Japan, it's this real mix, right, of very high tech, but also really deep spirituality. And a lot of the things that Ralph shared about are definitely very true of the people I talk to and spend time with. The kind of that deep undercurrent of Shinto and Buddhist and Confucianism kind of affecting people's worldview, as well as them being very driven and having a lot of the same goals and dreams that people in the UK would have. I'm also about 40 minutes away from Odaiba, which is where we have the Olympic rings out, because as we all know, the Olympic Games are definitely going on and there's no problems. And it's been a long time since they've been postponed. It's going on. People often asking me what's happening, if I have any kind of inside information. I wish I did. It feels that things are even more confusing from inside Japan about what's going on. So here's a thing of still, this is nearish my house again. There's ongoing kind of work, building things, making Tokyo ready for the Olympics, and people are really working hard. A lot's going on, but I'm sure you're aware from the news that things are not so simple, so straightforward. COVID is still a real big issue here. I learned a new word today watching the news, and people were talking about the Olympic Games going ahead. And they said basically that at the point now where they can't really turn back and cancel the games, they're too late. But in order to get things safe, they need like the COVID situation needs to change massively. So this new phrase I learned was "yaru mo jikoku, yaranu mo jikoku." If we do it, it will be hell. If we don't do it, it will also be hell. So please do be praying for those who are involved in organizing the games, for the volunteers, for the athletes, for the coaches, and pray for the church in Japan, for Christians to be able to really speak grace, to be salt and light as they talk to their neighbors and their colleagues and their family and friends about the situation. Opinion is really divided. People are on Twitter arguing back and forth. And yeah, it's a very complicated situation. But it means that for us as a sports ministry in Japan, it's very difficult because it's not just about what can we kind of physically and legally do, but also how do we do things and talk about even events and stuff in a way that is helpful when people are so divided in their opinions. So what am I doing? Well, I work with a group called Japan International Sports Partnership. We're a network of Japanese pastors and some missionaries like myself, and we're kind of working together trying to establish kind of sports ministry in Japan. We've been focusing a lot recently on prayer, kind of praying ourselves, also in trying to mobilize prayer around Japan. So we've been having some meetings leading up to the Olympic opening ceremony, and just trying to really get people together in Japan, people around the world praying for Japan, and not so much praying that the Olympics will go ahead or whatever, but praying that the church in Japan would have the grace and the strength to use this opportunity, even this really hard time, well, actually, particularly because it's a hard time, that we would have an opportunity to share the grace and the gospel of Jesus. We're also doing lots of planning, working out how do we grow as a network, as an organization, which means lots of meetings. So that's always fun. And then I couldn't think of a third P. So we have praying and planning, and then I guess just teaching or equipping. So this is a seminar we did last month on sports chaplain. Sports chaplains are not really a thing in Japan. It's kind of a new idea of how do you equip athletes. So we kind of did a seminar on that. I shared a little bit of my experiences. Next month we're doing a couple more. So trying to really equip people and share an understanding of sports and how sports can be used for discipleship and evangelism and worship and all those things. I have been able to do a little bit of sports myself. So this is my Wasabi team. There's a new sport we've got called dodgebee, which uses like a frisbee, but like a dodgebee type frisbee. And then rather than throwing into an end zone, you have a goal with a goalie. So we've had a few of those tournaments. A few of them have been cancelled. One this month was cancelled again because of COVID, but hopefully next month we'll have some more of them. Okay, let me. Okay. So the point though, the point of all of those things is really summarized in a verse that's become very key to me in my kind of thinking about mission in the last few years. So 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 8 in the NIV, it says, "Because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well." And for me, that's kind of why I play sports. I enjoy Frisbee, I enjoy throwing these things around, but really doing the training, playing the sports, going to onsen afterwards with teammates, going out for food with teammates afterwards. It's all about sharing my life with people. And when you share your life with people, it gives you opportunities as well to share the gospel. And so this is really what we want to be doing in Japan, and all of the things we're doing with the kind of equipping and conferences and training is trying to help churches in Japan to do this as well, to see sports, whether it's at the hobby level or whether it's at like the elite level, to see it as a way for Christians to share their lives and the gospel with those they are playing with and training with and all that stuff. So that's what I do. That's what we're about. And the thing is, right, the Olympics and Paralympics would have been or could have been a great opportunity kind of as a catalyst for doing lots of big events and outreach. And, you know, we had these plans to be on the streets and giving out flyers, to be having cafes around like near the Olympic Village and all this stuff we were going to do. We haven't been able to do that. We won't be able to really do any of that. But we don't need big sporting events to make disciples of Jesus. We need the Word of God. We need the Spirit of God. And by the grace of God, we have both of those. So for us, things have changed. Obviously, our plans have had to change, but the vision hasn't changed. We still have a vision to establish sports ministry in Japan, so that by 2024, when it's the next Olympic Games in Paris, assuming who knows what's going to happen, but you know, in theory, when all the eyes of the world are on Paris, that Japan will still be using sports. The church in Japan will be using sports to make disciples of Jesus and to show the grace and the love of Jesus to the people of Japan. So what that means is for you watching, if you have a passion for Japan and you have an interest, especially if it's sports, not just sports, but that's kind of my area. There's definitely still opportunities for you to come to Japan. Maybe we're looking more at next year or the year after, but there will definitely be opportunities for you to come. And whether it's Frisbee or football or fencing or other sports that begin with F or other letters of the alphabet, there are many opportunities for you to come and support the church in Japan. So please do, if you're passionate about that, or if you have another hobby that you're really passionate about and you think, can I use this to serve the church in Japan? Speak to Natch and others. We would love to have you come to Japan, and we can talk about possibilities and ways we can do that. Please do pray, keep praying for Japan, and especially as we move into the Olympic countdown and things get kind of really difficult and much more complicated. So on June the 3rd, will actually be 50 days before the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. And we're going to have an online prayer meeting. It will be in the evening in Japan, so about noon-ish in the UK. I know that's awkward because it was a Thursday. But if you're able to join, we'll be doing it in bilingual with Japanese and English. So I'll send out details through Natch, and you can kind of come along to that and pray. We'll be doing another prayer meeting either the day before the Olympic ceremony or the day of the ceremony, depending on what happens. But please pray for Japan. And use this time to prepare yourself if you're thinking about how can you come. So thinking through really deeply the things that Ralph shared about how to understand the Japanese culture, how to speak the good news in a way that really resonates with the hearts of Japanese people. You can get going on language learning and building on those skills, whether it's sports or hobbies or music or craft or whatever. Don't discard those, thinking you have to give them up to be a good missionary, because God will use those gifts, those passions He's given you in order to connect with people. So keep working on those. And a final thing I have, just as I was thinking of what can you be doing now we're kind of still in COVID mode and it's hard to come to Japan, and what some ways you can serve the church here. And one kind of simple thing, I think it's an idea I have, is a lot of people in Japan, a lot of young Christians have gone to the YouTube route, like many other people. And so there are many now. I have lots of friends who are starting channels, and especially for kind of worship music. So, I'll throw some in the chat, and, you can go and watch these guys kind of performing their music and worship songs they put together. And even just writing a comment in English. I know for the people I talk to, it's really encouraging them and really spurs them on to keep producing more content, keep reaching out to their friends online. So yeah, just this is a crazy time. I know COVID is mad, and it's kind of, for me, I feel it. It really has been a year of uncertainty and frustration and feeling kind of limits of what we can do. But actually, there are many opportunities for us to encourage and strengthen the church in Japan, whether you're here in Tokyo or whether you're in the UK. So do use online things. Encourage those people you know. If you're friends on Facebook, just let them know you're praying for them and encourage them in the gospel. But please do think about coming to Japan in the coming years. Really would love to have you. So I think that's mostly what I have to say. Any questions, comments, complaints, to the usual address. And yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Levi. And yes, if you do